Have you ever pulled out your Nintendo DS and just decided to scribble on PictoChat instead of playing your games? Do you ever turn on your PSP and just browse around the nice, sleek XMB menu? Or perhaps you just load up your 3DS and take a second to look at the many different menu themes and features you got. These are operating systems for portable consoles. Now, we've already taken a look at our operating systems for some of the older consoles in the last video, but I would say operating systems provide a much more valuable existence in portable consoles. What if you forget to bring your games with you, or what if you don't even have any money to buy games? That's why I'm here to show you guys some of the different things you can do with these operating systems. And just like before, there's a lot of different handhelds to go through, so we'll try to keep it to what I have physically. I'm still missing that damn elusive PS Vita. So our first console on the list is going to be the Nintendo Game Boy, the original. Mine doesn't work.
God damn it.
So, I bought this a few years back from this couple that does garage sale stuff, and it was really cheap, but they said that there was battery acid on the back, which, I mean, obviously, there is. And if I was to clean it, it might work. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be able to give the 100%, but it might work. And I've also got a really bad looking copy of Tetris in here. Jesus Christ. Just put that back in there. But I know it sucks that we can't turn this one on, but there are alternatives that will offer us the same operating system. The next example is going to be the Game Boy Pocket, released a little bit after, and it's a lot slimmer and smaller than the original Game Boy. It looks a lot more like one of the Game Boy Colors, which we actually will talk about a little later. But this one actually does work. I did have to get batteries before I filmed this, but it does work, and I can kind of show you how it is. Hopefully the contrast is okay. Yep. So, plays a little chime, and it's gonna sit on here, and you can see it's a big black bar right now, and that's because there's actually no game inside, because Nintendo actually did a fun little anti-tamper mechanic, where if you put this really gross version of Tetris in it, or if you put any authorized game in, turn it on, and it comes down with the Nintendo sign, and the game boots. So in the next segment, I was going to talk about the anti-tampering mechanic, but I couldn't ever really get it to trigger on the Game Boy.
God damn it.
So instead of watching me do it for 3 minutes, I'll actually show you what happens. If the console has a little trouble reading the game, it shows up as the Nintendo logo, but it's missing a few pixels. There's a YouTuber named Modern Vintage Gamer who took a closer look at the boot process and managed to even alter it to write his own logo on it. I'll put the link to the video in the description, but back to the Game Boy. So the next console we've got is, as I stated earlier, the Game Boy Color. And compared to the Pocket, it kind of looks about the same. It just looks like the Game Boy Color's got a fatter ass. The Pocket ain't got no cake at all. And I guess that must symbolize the difference. This one's a little better, fatter ass, I guess. But the main difference between the Color and the Pocket and the original is it actually displays color. And whenever we turn it on, oh, have to find where the power switch is. You can see the Game Boy logo is actually in full color. It even had that little shine. We'll see it one more time. Wow, you can't beat some like that. And you can actually see that black bar from the other consoles is back. They've got the same kind of thing going on. I got a copy of Tetris DX because, God forbid, I put this in my nice, like, mint Game Boy Color. Even if it is the stupid puke green. Turn it on. Voila! Although I don't ever recommend you play Tetris DX because it doesn't have the classic Tetris theme. Because somebody at the team didn't know what real music was, and they messed that one up. So the next console we've got is the Game Boy Advance, and this is a lot different in shape from our past units. But, you know, it's the advanced one. It ought to be a lot different. And I'll tell you what it is. We've got a lot better of a home screen this time around. I'll let you guys be the judge. That's classic. Load a game in, like Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, really good. If I can get it to fit. Pop. Then turn it on. Oh. I'm glad I got it on film at some point. Yeah, sometimes if the game doesn't load right, it will display stuff like that. I probably said something earlier in the video about it. If I did that, future me, congrats. Pop. There we go. See? This time it works. I just needed to do it again. But yeah, so it's another really simple operating system. There isn't too much going on, which obviously as this video goes on, that will change drastically, and I will have much more things to say about other consoles such as like the DS, 3DS, PSP. I'll have a lot more to say about that. Oop, I hit my phone. But I would show the GBA, the GBA SP model, but I don't have it because they are wildly expensive. They're a little out of my price range right now. I'm kind of giving it a little more time before I buy one, but mark my words, I'll buy one at some point. Now, I know the screen's a little hard to see sometimes, since I have to kind of push it so far up to the camera. I decided to show you guys a little accessory that obviously will save the day. This thing, I'm pretty sure it's called like a wiggle light, but as you can see, mine's pretty bad. So I'm back in the dark, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to see. You know, obviously my monitor lights aren't really helping my case, but you can kind of see with no light source behind me, it's really difficult to show anything. But if we get this little wiggle light in here, and then kind of, yeah, you got to angle it at a good spot to where it's not in your way, but you can still see, and voila, you can see like half the screen. It's very hit or miss, I'll be honest. It could be a hell of a lot better, but I mean, it kind of gets the job done. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but I'm pretty sure these things were probably like less than $10 back in the day. And like, I mean, you can see it's really, really cheap. It's really just a light that connects into the charger port. And if these things were like over $10 back in the day, I feel like I'd be getting scammed or something. Like at that point, just buy a lamp and just put it next to you while you play the game. The DS has a lot more going on with it. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Oh, no. The fucking hinge is, like, snapped. Oh. Let that be a lesson to you guys. Take care of your DSs because the hinges are not very good. I don't have, like, the floppy hinges like other people are saying, but damn. I haven't opened this in a while, but that really sucks. Alright, so I've got the camera at a little better of an angle so you guys can see the screen a lot better. So we'll turn it on. Got the nice DS logo. You've got your warning, health and safety. You always need to read this every time. Be very careful whenever you guys play game consoles. So at the top we've got very simple things like clock, calendar, name, time, date. I don't really know what these two do, but this is the battery. Whoop-de-doo. The bottom, you've got your DS game card, GBA game card, and then you've got like brightness, settings, timers, and then you've got these two gorgeous little applications. So we'll start with DS Download Play. DS Download Play lets you sync up with other Nintendo DSs, and you can play other content with them, such as Mario Kart, which is pretty much the only DS example I have of like a good shareable game, in my opinion, that's like recognizable. And I can also show you my other DS, the DS of Doom. This is my bad DS. As you can see, the screen is very bad, but I've got a server up. And as you can see, I clicked on DS download play, and you can see Mario Kart DS pops up. Voila. And then you can join that up, which, I mean, I'm not gonna do, but you can obviously see I'm in there. So you can see it obviously works. So that's DS download play for you. Very simple, but allows you to play all types of games with anybody, even if you don't have a cartridge, which I always really like because I remember playing this on the bus, just like loading up Mario Kart and letting anybody else on the bus that had a DS play. And even if everybody had to play as Shy Guys, it was really fun and definitely allowed for a lot more friendships between many different people. And so the other option we've got is PictoChat, which is pretty much just a like typing and drawing thing, but I think it's really fun. As you can see, I've got my other DS connected to chat room A, and you can join in, and you can see everybody's in here. You can say like, hi, but I kind of suck at typing or writing, but I said that type of hi, and on the other DS, you can see it just sent. And then I'll send like, here, I'll try to keep them side by side. That would be the best way to do this. So if I put like, hi, voila. And it also obviously would work the other way too. It's just a little more difficult to figure out where it's at. But yeah, it's pretty much just like a little drawing app, and they actually did a lot better on this in the future with like the DSi model with things like Flipnote, where you can actually make like entire videos based on just like simple drawings. But it's really fun to just sit here and draw, and you don't even need somebody else in the chat room with you. You can really just sit by yourself and just like sit here and draw. And I'm not very good at drawing, but I can try one thing. There's one thing I can't go wrong with, and that is a Kirby. Even if the feet and everything else is a little messed up. There you go. There's my Kirby with the DS stylus. And the next console we've got is the PSP. And I know you guys are thinking, this isn't a Nintendo console. What the hell are you doing? Don't worry. I've just got to show you guys this thing. This thing honestly made me want to do this video in the first place because of how much shit you can do on the operating system, and honestly how cool it is. This is a PlayStation Portable. This is the second generation of them. And one of the first big things is there's this UMD label here. Pop it open and got a very crude way to put in your discs, and these are actually the discs. You've got some universal media discs, call them UMDs, but you just pop them in like that, get it all nice and shut, and then turn the console on. You can obviously hear the noise of the UMD. It's actually really loud. But you've actually got a little mini XMB type of operating system here, which is very similar to the PS3, but it's a little tiny one. It's all nice and cute. And you've got settings, you've got extras. I've never been able to get the digital comics thing to work because obviously servers are down. You have a camera, but I don't have the camera, so I can't really do that. You've got music, videos, games, and then the internet, and then PlayStation Network, which doesn't really work because PSP servers are down. The cool thing about this is, for me, it was really easy to modify, and in my opinion, this thing becomes way cooler whenever you can actually modify it and start doing your own things. And we'll start with the games. The games are really easy to put on this thing Like, I'm pretty sure it's literally, you just get the ISO, and you can actually dump games from the PSP as well, and just put them straight on your memory stick. I will say, I didn't mention this, but the games, if you kind of sit on them, they have this nice little splash screen, and some even will play like music. Here, and I'll go over, some of them will just be like simple little splash screens, but some of them will actually have like real music and actual text. But for the most part, it's pretty much just like a mini PS3 type of operating system. But I think it's really cool. And then for videos, it's pretty sure there are online converters that I use just to get it to work, because some of the videos can be a little bit like weird. They won't want to download onto the PSP properly, but you know, you give a little push and pull and it'll work, and you can get all types of crazy clips. Like, I mean, I just started taking my desktop clips. But so for the music, I honestly think it's the easiest and probably the coolest to pull off, because you actually don't even need to mod your system to put in the music. All of the music is MP3 format, so really easy to just pop it on the PSP. But let me find a song that is not gonna get me copyrighted. Maybe it's a little too loud, but as you can see, it does play it, and there's a lot of other options you can do as well. You can turn on and off the display, but I usually have the display off because of these they have these really nice visuals for the music. And you can also just have it to be nothing if you really hate your life, but there's a lot of other things you can do here. I personally really like this one, but I'm gonna go through all of them for you guys. Some of them I really don't know like what they're doing per se, and some of them will just take a really long time to actually like form it all. Like, I'm pretty sure this one is like sand, and I'm pretty sure as the song goes on, it's gonna make marks in the sand. Yeah, you can kind of see it's starting to make some marks now. I promise you, it's not just filth on the screen. It's actual, they're actually doing stuff. But my personal favorite is definitely this one, which I really like all the different colors, all the different little orbs flying around. It looks really nice, and I'll probably put up a little footage later, but this one actually shifts over from like this kind of greenish background to a much more like black background with way more colorful orbs, and I really like that part, and I'm really confused why you have to sit through this part just to get to it. But this thing is really nice just to have a backdrop, and I feel like nobody really talks about the PSP very much, and I feel like it's a really cool piece of hardware with a lot of cool things going on. I feel like it's not like super like high-techy, like you need this now. I think it's very cool as like a fun novelty item. Honestly, I take it with me almost everywhere, and I love using it. I love showing it to other people, because people really don't see a lot of stuff like this. I feel like the people that had a PSP back in the day and have used the music stuff, they may know about it, and they may know about all this other stuff, but I feel as if the convenience in modding this thing, as well as all the different things you can do with it, really make it like an awesome handheld. And it's not too expensive either. I got this for around, I believe, $60 on eBay, and I would believe they probably go around the $75 mark. So they're a little more expensive, a little more on the expensive side, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe I'm just a cheap ass. But I think it's really cool for what you get, and I personally really enjoy using it. Next up on the list, we've got the Nintendo DSi, released a little bit after the DS. I really wanted one of these things as a kid, and I didn't get one until just recently, thanks to a friend named Emmy. Emmy, if you're watching this video, thank you so much. I'm so glad I get to talk about this thing now. I really wanted this as a kid because it really felt like the souped up like DS. It almost felt like a mini Wii in a way. It's got cool camera. It's got 3 lights instead of the DS's 2 lights. So it's gotta be, you know, better. It's got a whole thing just for Wi-Fi now. And it's got a power button, not just a fandangled old Switch. It's got an actual power button, which in my opinion is a lot cooler than a Switch and makes it feel a lot more like a home console. I don't know, maybe I just think about the small things too much, but this console always looked really cool to me. Turning on the console, we've got what looks like the original DS startup. Instead, we've got a little eye. And turning it on, getting past that menu, we've got an actual operating system here. We've got some apps, stuff like that. A little bit more robust than the DS. We've got your system settings, as all operating systems have these days. We've got that DSi camera, which I will admit the photo quality is not that good. You're not expecting very much for a console like this, but you can kind of see how the photo looks, see how pixelated it is. And honestly, from a distance, it kind of starts looking it's more like watercolored than anything else. You've got the DSi Sounds app. You can like record sounds, you can edit them, make them sound stupid, stuff like that. You've got your DSi shop, which doesn't work anymore. You can download like smaller games, stuff like that. You've got your DS download play and the Picto chat though. We can't get rid of these two. These two are the titans. They carried the DS home menu and they're gonna carry this one too. And since I'm always modding my systems and all that, of course I had to mess with this thing. So it's a little different compared to most. Pretty sure you hold down A. At least that's the way I thought I had set it up for this. Yep, click touchscreen. And it comes up with this Twilight menu, which I haven't actually had a lot of experience in the Twilight menu. But it's pretty much just a way for your DSi to play most of the old games via emulator, stuff like that. There we go. Sometimes it takes a little bit to properly load up, but I don't really have a lot of games because I don't think my SD card's very big, and I didn't really get very far into modding the DSi. But it's looking through my folder right now, and I've got D-Blob 2 only. Very many games to play. But yeah, that's the fun modded part of this, is I can pretty much play whatever DS game, but honestly, in my opinion, there are always better alternatives, such as like the 3DS. But I really just don't think the DSi does too much for DS games per se. It's kind of just a more souped up DS for you. And then last but not least, we have the 3DS. And this is actually my 2DS XL, and this thing is actually so big, I need to move the camera back just a little bit so I can fit the whole damn thing on screen. So yeah, this is the last model that they made, the new 2DS XL. And it is, it's there. I'm not a big fan of it, but a lot of people really are, and I really don't understand. The 3DS XL is usually cheaper than this thing, and it also has the 3D. The 2DSs don't have the 3D, and yet I commonly see this thing priced way more than the original launch price. I bought this thing for $150 at launch because I didn't really care for the 3D. And now these things are worth almost $300. And while I don't really have a direct comparison, like I don't have a new 3DS XL, I have probably the DS XL's older brother, the original 2DS. This thing doesn't really work but I can show you pretty much all the shortcomings of the DS in terms of its like physical build quality, I guess. So for something like the 2DS, you would obviously just put your game in at the top. You know, pretty simple stuff. With this thing, they decided to be a lot smarter, I guess, and use this little flap to put your game in as well as your micro SD card. But the problem is this flap doesn't close. At least for me, it didn't. And I feel like this happened only a few months after I had started using it. And I really didn't understand why they couldn't, voice crack, why they couldn't have just like gotten rid of this thing or like had it removable. Hell, maybe it is removable. I don't fucking know. It'll be removable if I get a damn knife or some pair of scissors. The other thing I definitely want to talk about, especially for me, I've got really big hands, and you know, you'd expect your stylus to be very nice and big enough for you. This is not. And I'll go grab my DS stylus for comparison. It's a little small. Oh, camera's all shaky. It's a little small. And for me, using this little thing, it's just too small. I like having... The DS one is almost perfect for me because it rests right here, and it's perfect for me to write. Yes, I'm left-handed. Very odd. But yes, I would write like this. And for me, it's nice to have this top part against the side of my arm, or the side of my hand. And with the 2DS, I can't really do that. I kind of have to keep it on my finger, which is fine, but occasionally it's going to slip out. And then I'm going to be writing the other way. So I don't really like the stylus or the game card. But people really like this thing because the fucking top looks like a smartphone. Do you see this shit? It looks like a fucking iPhone. $300 right now. Give me your fucking cash. And since we're already on the topic about my hands being gigantic, this thing, as big as it is, actually still is a little too small for my hands. It kind of forces me to pinch up against the sides, which also is where the speakers are. So good luck hearing whenever your big ass hands are forced to do this just so you can play your goddamn games. But I bought a solution, which is actually, this is my favorite way to use this thing. It's an actual grip, and it's pretty nice. It's got an actual kickstand, but I don't really use a kickstand because I'm not watching videos on this thing. But it actually gives me a proper grip on the thing, and it makes it feel a lot more comfortable. People with smaller hands definitely won't have an issue like this, but for somebody like me, where almost all of these consoles cause problems for me in my hands because they're just too small, stuff like this is always great. I love to have these things because it actually lets me play the game for over an hour without feeling like my hands are just completely dead. But putting it in this little cradle, turning it on here, takes it a minute. It's an old system. We ask too much of it. I forgot. Yeah, I also have this thing modded. But I've done a lot more stuff. It's pretty much, it's kind of like the DSi, except there's a lot more things you can do. You can kind of change the sizing, and there's a lot more options than what the DSi had. There's even these top little options that aren't even really games per se, but they're more like side things, like you won't need to close your game to open up your game notes. Your freaking game notes. Yep, you can tell I really like game notes. I use this all the time. But the 3DS home menu is pretty easy to get behind and understand. I have a custom theme because I have my shit modded, but obviously you can change your theme to fit whatever you want, and if you mod it, you can get pretty much infinite themes. I've seen some odd things on the theme list. I've literally seen like Kendrick Lamar albums be wallpapers, and I just think that's the funniest thing because it's just not what you would expect from Nintendo 3DS home screens. It's just very out of place. But I'll kind of show off my stuff over here. I've got NES games, got SNES games, you've got your 3DS games, we've got a lot of stuff here. You've got regular DS games, and you've got your GBA stuff, which is pretty cool. I play them a lot, I'll be honest. I play this probably as much as I play the PSP, just because it's pretty much the Nintendo equivalent to my favorite little handheld, because I don't really like to talk about the Switch. I'll talk about the Switch in another video. I'll give my real thoughts. But it's pretty nice. You've got actual Mii's this time around. You can finally make Mii's on the portable console. You've got your system settings. Hell yeah, can't go without them. You've got an activity log where you can view like your times in games. You've got your 3DS camera that is also not a very good camera, I must say. But I feel like in this day and age, we're kind of spoiled with phone cameras. So I feel like it's kind of hard to appreciate the 3DS camera, even if this came out in a time where smartphones were pretty much already ahead of this by miles. But next up, we've got the eShop. It's down, so really all you get to do is stare at these little shopping bags floating. You got 3DS sound, pretty much the same as a DSi. You can record stuff, change like the pitch, add funny stuff, you know. Just little software to just spend your time on. You got the DS download play because you can't get rid of the download play, but they did get rid of PictoChat, unfortunately. Which I don't know if we can ever really survive as a society knowing that, but I feel like we'll manage. I feel like we'll figure something out. We'll manage to live our life without PictoChat. Well, we finally made it to the end of the recording. Yeah, this video took a lot longer than I had expected. If you managed to make it all the way to the end, thank you. I didn't expect the last video to pop off like it did, but I mean, I was just shocked. And if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe and let me know in the comments. And with that, I hope you have a good rest of your day.